Hello, my name is Kathy Lynch. I'm the Westford Republican Town Committee Chairwoman. I'm the State Committee Woman for the 1st Middlesex District, and I am the host of the Second Opinion Show. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Raymond Xie. He's actually Dr. Raymond Xie, and I'm going to have him pronounce his name the way he likes to pronounce it, but he is running for state representative. So Raymond, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me to the show.
You're welcome. I would love for you to introduce yourself and particularly say how your name should be pronounced, because it's Xie and sometimes it's hard to pronounce. Here's your sign for the audience.
Thank you.
But to introduce yourself and tell us what towns you represent,
right.
And maybe a little bit about what the state representative position is about.
That's right, yeah. Hello everyone, my name is Raymond Xie. So the Chinese way of pronouncing my last name is Xie. It's like S-H-E-A, something like that.
Sure.
But my colleagues, many of them call me Z, because it's a lot easier for them to pronounce.
That's right, Xie.
Yeah.
That's the English way.
So either way is perfectly fine with me, and don't worry about that. I live in Westford for the last 22 years. I moved in Westford in year 2000. I raised my 2 children with my wife, and it has been a blessed experience here. I think Kathy mentioned that I have a doctor title, but I'm not a medical doctor. I have a PhD in industrial engineering, and my work is related to engineering, computer science. I work in a company as a global product manager for 10 years in Chelmsford. Now I move on to another energy management company as a marketing operations manager. So it's been a while, but it has been a great journey. This country has treated immigrants, especially me, people like me, first-generation immigrants. We're here to learn language, to learn skills, to get education and find jobs. It has been a tremendous a blessing to immigrants like me.
Great. And the towns that you're representing?
Yeah, so I'm running for state representative for the 2nd Middlesex District. That includes Westford, Littleton, and part of Chelmsford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what does a state representative do?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. I think when I look at this opportunity, let's say 8-9 months ago, I was wondering about that too. But over the last 8-9 months, I slowly really appreciate what state rep is doing. Basically, this is a legislature body of our state house. It defines laws, review laws, it defines budget for the state. A lot of things that you are seeing today, for example, the taxes you have to pay, the regulations and policies for small businesses you have to follow. Those are really defined by state laws and state legislature bodies.
That's great. That's good to communicate that, because a lot of people still do not know what our government officials do. So it's good to help educate the public.
Right. Yeah, I do want to mention that I'm running for the lower house. So in Beacon Hill, there are upper house, which we call it senators, and the lower house is called state representative. We have about 160 seats in the lower house, and 2nd Middlesex seat is one of them.
Mm-hmm. Great. So tell us about your family, a little bit of personal information about you. And what do they think about you running as well?
Sure, yeah. So my wife, she's also from China. We are both from the same province in China. We went to schools here. We went to Dalhousie University in Canada before we moved to US. Then my 2 children were born here and grew up here. My daughter was actually born in Canada, but she moved here maybe only like 7 or 8 months old. Mm-hmm. And yeah, in terms of campaigning, my 2 kids are actually in college now. They are in colleges in Boston, so we are basically empty nesters. We actually do not talk about politics a lot. But with my wife has been very supportive. She has been very much eager to give me ideas, to support me with whatever tasks she's assigned to do. She's doing all the cooking and house management, feeding me well. So I'm just blessed to have support from my wife and my family as well.
That's great. And also you just said that you feel very blessed, and I know you have some experience in a church.
Right,
so
right.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. No, I came to this country. There's one thing in my heart that is pursuit of religious freedom. And here that I was able to look at all the things, different religions presented to me, and in my workplace, I do have a number of colleagues. They are Christians, so they invited me to a local church. Eventually, I went to a local Good News celebration, and there I was able to have that meet Jesus moment when the pastor was talking about what are you going to, do you know where are you going after death? So I was thinking about that problem deeply, and I like to know more. So I started to go to church in 2002, 2003. I was baptized, I think, during Easter ceremony in 2003 at my church. This is a Chinese Bible Church of Greater Lowell, but it's located in Chelmsford. And
you rose up, I heard, to become an elder of the church, a leader.
Yes. Yeah, I was initially involved in children ministry, helping children. Then I became Sunday school teacher. I actually also registered a program in Golden Cornwall. That was 2011 or 10, trying to learn more about theology and salvation and the faith, how they are related to my life. And I was appointed as an elder in 2013 in my church. So up until, I think, end of last year, I was an elder at the church. But this January, I decided to step down after 9 years of eldership. That gave me time to run for office this year.
So what do you think needs to happen or even change on Beacon Hill that you can bring to the legislature?
That's a very good question. It's a very direct question as well.
Yeah. Like a lot of candidates have like 3 issues that they focus on and they think they can improve.
Yeah, so I'm leading with the 3 issues. Number 1 is economy. Number 2 is public safety. Number 3 is about health, like drug issues. So number 1, economy-wise, I think we can do a lot at the state level. A lot of people I talked to, they were saying that, oh, no, Raymond, you cannot do too much. You know, the inflation is a federal issue. It's a federal printing money. The energy cost has a lot to do with the national energy crisis. We're really not independent right now, and so on and so forth. But I'm saying that when I dig more and more and talk to more people, I realize that there are so many things we can do at the state level. First is that we can really control our tax, right? There are many bills at Beacon Hill, for example, suspend temporarily the gas tax, elect more tax holidays, give some fuel tax relief to farmers, and also help our seniors to get more tax credit. All those things are on the bill. It was just very unfortunate they get denied. And second is to control our government spending. We have a very big budget on many things. And so I'm all for limited government. So there are many areas that we should have more scrutiny, look at if it's the right amount, if it's the right time to spend, control government spending so that we have a good revenue and good flow of cash to help the people in need. And yeah, they're just, and also the third one is the energy cost when we are trying to fight inflation.
And the drugs that you were talking about as well, the drug use.
Yes, the drug use, that's something I'm going to touch for sure. Everybody knows that the electricity cost is going to increase 64% this winter.
Yeah, I saw an article about that.
Yeah, partly I believe it is really caused by some actions we took before. For example, we shut down nuclear plant, we declined natural gas pipeline coming in, so we became energy less independent. And so all those things that should be on the table for people to debate, people to talk about, to bring up different ideas. I work for energy management company, so I'm fully trained in terms of the ESG, in terms of the sustainability. I fully understand the green initiative, but I'm also would like to introduce a free market, free competition, so that we are achieving our goal, but we are working on the best strategy and the best timing for doing things. And talking about drugs, yes, I talked to many residents here. It's very sad to hear some of the families, they had to go through this suffering, that their children are really being harmed by fentanyls. The fentanyls is coming to the state. I heard many of them coming from southern border. I think Beacon Hill can use more resources, can allocate more resources to fight fentanyl, this type of deadly drugs. It's 100 times more deadly than just some normal drugs you see in the market.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard that even first responders who go to help someone who's had an overdose are at risk just by breathing in the fentanyl, which is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, there was a bill on Beacon Hill just to double the investment to fight fentanyl. Unfortunately, it was denied. So if I'm elected, I'm going to support this type of bills.
Did your opponent vote? How did your opponent vote?
I think he voted no to invest in fighting fentanyl.
Oh, so there's a difference between you and him in this regard.
Right. Yeah, I think any competition to this district and different ideas bring to Beacon Hill is going to help. Yeah,
that's an important thing for the children, especially in this district. That, and sometimes it's hidden. You don't hear about it, and you don't know a lot about it. But there is, unfortunately, an issue with drugs. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I discovered since April and May. I've been knocking on doors, talking to people, trying to find all the opportunities to know the district, and has been a blessed experience.
Now, one thing that certainly distinguishes you from your opponent is something that you wrote on a mailer. It says, Tiananmen Square, student and immigrant. Will you please explain what that's about?
Yes, absolutely. So I went to Beijing for my university, and during the Tiananmen Square protest, that was 1989. I was in my second year, sophomore year. So I joined the 6 weeks of protest at Tiananmen Square, in and out. And the time we were demanding political reform, we were fighting against corruptions. So I have that blood that really stand up for against injustice, stand up for people. When I moved to this part of the country, in my heart, I'm still really searching for that free world, that you have, the free speech, free economy, medical freedom, all the people that normal citizens should enjoy, should have. That's the same thing I'm going to fighting for. That's
great. Yeah, we're America, right?
Yes,
freedom.
Yes, exactly.
Hallmark. We have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and that's what it sounds like you're fighting to defend.
That's very, very true. Yeah, over the last 20 years, I think one thing I learned really deeply in my heart is really the democracy. I used to call that, oh, this country is democracy, but people corrected me. They were saying that it should be a constitutional republic. Then I would ask them, what's the difference? I mean, this is a democracy. What's the difference between democracy and the republic? Then people start to tell me that, oh, republic means that we, the people, give government power. It's not government give us the power. The government works for us, not we work for the government. Then I start to understand, oh yeah, it makes sense. Because if you're talking about the simple majority vote will take the law, the lead, that's kind of you call it the secular democracy. But if it is a republic, I think the law guarding the people and guarding the limited government, that makes more sense.
Well, and we can vote for our representatives. That's what we're doing in this race, for example. So, so you represent the people. A democracy, it kind of lets the people run it, and it can go very dangerous if you have like a mob rule, for example. And the founding fathers knew that, and they said that we don't want it to be a democracy. But that's used a lot because it kind of speaks to the fact that we do have a say, we do have a voice, and that's at the ballot box. You know, who's going to represent us. That's
a very good point. So I do encourage voters in this November during the midterm election, go out and vote because election day to me is a sacred day. It's a day that many other countries do not have that. And if we have that right, we better not lose that right and try to use that towards our benefit.
You know, and I saw an article yesterday about 11,000 mail ballots being rejected in this state. It makes me, I would think that voters would be concerned that if they didn't do everything properly, their ballot might be rejected. Then they don't know where their vote goes. So it's almost better to just go on election day. You know your vote's being cast. You don't know, I mean, that something could have gone wrong with your ballot if you mail it in. To me, it just felt like a lot of people who lost their vote by having their ballot rejected.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling my friends and my family as well. Election day is so important. Actually, I would suggest that government should have a holiday on that day so people can go and vote.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a holiday, then people don't really have an excuse for why they can't do it unless they are disabled or they can't get in there, and then they can always get that absentee ballot that we've had traditionally for years.
Right, yeah, I think it's a celebration as well. You know, this is a day we can vote. This is a day we can support our candidate. This is a day we can express our opinion peacefully and trying to choose the best candidate. Yeah, so yeah, I think I agree with you.
Now tell me about what you're getting when you're knocking doors. What is the gist of the public? What are the things that you're hearing from them?
Yeah, I heard a lot of things. I learned a lot of things as well. Number one concern I would say is economy, inflation, some of the taxes they receive, especially working class people. I met a lot of small business owners, for example, landscapers. They have to drive, still have to drive a truck to transport goods from one place to another. They cannot afford, or there is no electric vehicles for them to do that right now, and they are paying a huge gas price.
Right. We all are.
Yeah. I know, and they are, they are talking. Beacon Hill is talking about carbon tax. They are worried about that as well. They are worried about, in 12, 30 years, if Massachusetts is going to eliminate fossil fuel powered cars, they are going to be in even a bigger trouble. So that's just the economy. People are also worried about safety as well. Although I think Westford has been a very safe town, and thanks to the Westford police, same thing to Littleton and Chelmsford as well. Police have done a great job. This is a very safe area. But we don't want to see some of the defunding police bill, the relocation of some of the resources and removal of some of the qualified immunities from protecting our brave police officers in place, then I think things could change. So that's one thing. Especially many Asian families are worried about that too. Their kids are going to college in Boston, in the city area. They're worried about safety for sure. And third, I heard a lot about is frankly, the medical freedom. People are talking about that. They were forced to go out of jobs during pandemic because of some of the mandate they receive. Although I think this year is a lot better. I think people are going back to workplace. People are not talking about that too much, but that's the things I heard. I'm all for freedom, free market, limited government, medical freedom as well.
Yeah, it certainly does seem appropriate to not make someone take a drug or a shot or to wear something that gives them a hard time breathing. So I know that a lot of people were very uncomfortable with being told what they had to do without being able to make their individual choice. So there are reasons why people cannot take things and wear things, and so we ultimately, as a free country, need to be able to make that choice. So you're right. That was a very big issue the past couple of years. No, I think you're right. Everybody is different. It's really hard broken to me that you hear some pregnant woman that they were being forced to make hard decisions if they if they do not take the vaccine, that they will lose their jobs. Some of them, especially state workers, nurses, they did choose to leave their job, and it shouldn't happen really. And the fact that it was experimental, people should be able to decide if they want to be in an experiment or not, and that was one of the big problems that people had with that. Right.
I mean, I'm in general supporting vaccine. I took all the vaccine up until pandemic. I support science. I think the freedom is so important to people. I think everybody is different. We should give them choices.
So Ray, a tactic of the Democrats is to call people names. They've got a name for everyone under the sun, it seems, and racist is one of them. And the Republican Party, I really don't like it being cast as a racist party. And we welcome everybody, and we support everyone who has Republican principles. Tell me a little bit about, since you are Chinese descent and you're out there, do you find discrimination as a Republican? From Chinese descent?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I was worried about that. But when I start to talk to people, when I start to knocking on doors, talking to strangers, and regardless if the person I talk to is on the left or right, I think I received the confirmation is overwhelming. People are saying that, why are you running? It's so good to have first-generation immigrant to step up and give it a try and bring up your voice. It's so good to hear that, and you are running as a local resident as well. In terms of the discrimination based on color, I feel that that is really not something I see on a day-by-day basis. People really appreciate the diversity. People do even appreciate my accent. I was really surprised because I have a very strong accent. I'm trying to improve my English. Still, I'm trying to improve my English every day. But people are very tolerant. They are trying to understand me, even if sometimes I did not pronounce a word right. But they do appreciate that. They love to talk to me. I think this is a great country. I think although this country had a history of slavery, discrimination, but I'm looking at the self-correction path. I think this country had that courage, the spirit to correct that problem. And keep in mind that 200 years ago, slavery was a common problem across the world.
Right.
And even today, we have 400 million slaves in the world, right? But it's Americans, right, took that courage, took that sacrifice. If you're talking about civil war, if you're talking about people who fight slavery in the past, 200 years, I think that was a great example. Now we inherited a free world. It's better for us to keep that. I'm really worried about if we're going to lose that, if we're going to fight against each other, if we're going to be on this self-destruction path.
Right. Yeah, that's a great way to answer the question. There's nothing wrong with diversity, politically too. We have to remember that too. But thank you so much for everything you're contributing to this campaign. If people want to reach you, how would they do so?
Oh yeah, people can reach me via my website. My website is, actually it's here, RaymondXie.org. And you can find my email address there. You can find my phone number there. I get people reach out to me on a daily basis. And it's fun so far that I was able to interact with people. And I get so much encouragement and confirmation from voters in the district. So I want to use this opportunity to thank you all, our audience, for your support, for your kindness, to accept a new candidate in this district.
Is there any last closing, other than that, is there anything last that you want to leave the audience with?
Right. I'm running the campaign because I love Massachusetts, because I love freedom. And I work for you. I'm an independent thinker. I'm not a career politician. I will fight for you to keep Massachusetts safe and affordable. Love to hear from you as well. What you think, what are the issues? I like to understand the local issues and trying to bring the best local aid to our district, to our school systems, so that your tax dollar will be used in the most efficient way.
Thank you so much, Ray, for sharing all this with us. I wish you luck in your campaign. This is Kathy Lynch with Second Opinion. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you to Raymond Xie. Raymond Xie, I'm going to pronounce it properly now. But thank you for Dr. Raymond Xie for running. And remember, if you want a second opinion, you're not sure, there might be another viewpoint out there, there's another way to look at it, there's another person, just get a second opinion.